What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Gordon Racing 412. Back working on the red Delta today, and we got a little something for the Mercury boys, so stay tuned. Alright, update on the red Delta. Got a stringer glued in. Getting ready to do fiberglass that into place. And then we're gonna get the floor cut and get that set in there. Should be pretty quick. Floor is cut. What we're gonna do now is we're going to glass in the stringer. And while we got all the stuff out, we are going to coat the entire bottom side of this floor in resin, just to protect it, help it last. So the last time I used this stuff, I had a really hard time getting it to wet out, especially in the verticals.
I remember that, yeah.
Like the dash in mellow is probably the worst glass I've done. So we have the bottom of the floor all coated with resin. And as you can see here, we have the stringer fiberglassed all the way down. So gonna mix up some epoxy for the center and set the floor in. Lay down the line. Epoxy in. Let that dry up for the night, but the floor is down. So just one sheet of fiberglass over the top of that, and it's ready for the deck to go back on. Now, this boat is interesting because it's getting repowered with the SST60, and the transom in it is good still, and it has a hole for a through transom trim ram, which tells me that it probably had maybe an SST60 or a through transom setup for a 49 cubic inch OMC on it before. But when we got it, or when it was brought to us, it actually had this on it. And it's not too often that you find these things, one, still running, and two, this clean. This is a very clean 65 horsepower short shaft Mercury. Often I refer to these as the clamshell motors because the cowling opens up sideways, so I call them the clamshell 60s all the time. But really clean for its age. Really clean for its age. And I mean, just for a little backstory, you know, we've been through it multiple times now. We know 1968, Evan Johnson OMC came out with their 49 cubic inch 3-cylinder 3 carburetor engine, and that motor just, it blew away anything that Mercury had at the time. So Mercury had to respond, and they responded with this in I think it's 72 is when these came out, and they are also a 49 cubic inch 3-cylinder, although they are 2 carburetor. Now, one major advantage that these motors had, especially in 71 or 72, whenever they came out, was the gear case. Up until 1975, the OMCs had the large gear case, and this thing has a very small gear case with multiple different gear ratios. I believe there's a a 186, which would be roughly the same as a nitro case. There was also like a 164 gear, which would be really good for top end speed. So they had the advantage of gear cases. Evinrude had the advantage, or OMC had the advantage of power. So when Evinrude and Johnson debuted their 1975 short shafts with their smaller, what we refer to as the nitro case, that was really the turning point that made these motors almost not competitive at all, unfortunately. However, there is one version of the 49 cubic inch 3-cylinder Mercury that was still competitive. Though in all honesty, I don't know much about the 650XS, but here's a couple photos I found online. I want to get more familiar with these. The 650XS was not an engine that was produced for very long, and the standard version of the 49 cubic inch Merc only ever came with 2 carburetors. Eventually it got to 70 horsepower, and then it got brought back down to 60 horsepower when they changed how to rate their engines, but they just never performed the same way that one of these can. Alright, Red Delta, here's where we're at. Floor's in, ready to be glassed in. Don't have enough glass, so that's gotta wait until we get that. Deck supports have been replaced. Have enough glass just to glass over all the deck supports. So I'm gonna do that now, and then hopefully this order comes in quick with more glass, more resin, because we're out of that as well. We can get this thing back together and rigged very quickly. That is the idea. We want this thing done and out of here this year. So, quick time. Also, the SST60, there she is. Lower unit, just needed a water pump. Other than that, seems to be all good. We already saw that power head was all good. It was running. Everything was fine. So that should be pretty much ready to go to drop onto these once we get them back together. Let's get to it. Get a quick layer down here just to get things stuck down. If you're looking for expertise on doing fiberglass, I'm not your guy. Most of the time, I'm making it up as I go. Alrighty, deck supports are all glassed in, and while that's drying, I'm going to take a little break and take a look at this thing. So this is a motor that we picked up recently, and for those who don't know, this is a 59 cubic inch 3-cylinder Mercury. This one is a 50 horsepower. But we don't have much experience with these things. Now, I know that some people down in the more southern states love these motors. And they swear that they can run with a 3-cylinder OMC when they're done right. But first step is we just got to check this thing out, see if it will even run, and then we'll look into what it would take to make this work like one of those 3-cylinders. But first things first, that thing needs a bath bad. 59 Merc. There's a couple signs that this thing may have gotten hot. One was the wire for the temperature sensor was against the block and it's melted. And even this little rubber stopper here, it's been hot enough that the end of that is melted. So we're going to start off with a compression test on this thing and go from there. Why does it have one plug that's different than the other two? Good. Good start.
It's never a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign. But if this thing's blown up, it's not the end of the world because it's probably coming apart anyways. I'll be surprised if that stays, but go. Okay. 120. 125. That one's like 128.
So, do that top one again. Makes sense that if you got hot, that's the first one to get hot. So,
yeah.
Ready?
Yep. Yeah, it's like 121, just over 120.
Slightly lower.
Slightly lower, but it's not.
It's not.
It's not zero.
No. It's
All
not
right,
blown up.
that's a start. It's not seriously hurt. All right, so reading the sticker here, it says standard spark plug NGK BPZ 8HN10. Oh yeah. BP8HN10. Okay, well that's close. Only the one was maybe the correct plug. The other two are not the correct plugs. So try to track down some plugs, throw those, and see if this thing will fire up.
Your NGK BUHW2.
So still not the same plug.
No.
That one looks not great.
Yeah, it does look not great. We're going to clean them up and we're going to put them in that motor and see if it fires.
That one also looks not great.
I agree.
That one looks brand new.
Diagnosing spark issues, and they've been stabbing spark plug boots.
Oh yeah.
So that's never good.
No. There's one good way to make sure that even if it had spark, it won't again. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
I don't know why people do that.
Just
Stab right through the side of the boot.
fucking stupid.
The amount of motors that we get that are arcing.
You're filming.
Yeah. The amount of motors that we get that arc through things like that where they've tried to check something. Stupid. Okay. Battery hooked up, fuel line hooked up, pump the ball, no leaks. Power trim's working. That's a good sign. Let's see what happens. Just is in a bit of an awkward spot. So we might need to crank it right over. Yeah. We're ready. You ready?
Did you try it? Does it kick at all?
I haven't turned the key yet. I just made sure the trim worked, and want to turn the water on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Water's on. Let's see what she does. getting hot. I think. My hand's pretty cold, but felt like it was getting hot.
Let's see if there's any water here.
I hate to blow it up now.
That's clear.
Yeah, so it's got no water.
So, there's no water going to it.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out what's up here as well. Like, it's just dumping out. Which I've seen that before. Because they have like a water pickup there.
They usually have one or the other though. They don't usually have one or both.
No, it does, because I remember on the 4-stroke, when I built the 4-stroke, I had to plug that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because there's a tube
Yeah,
that's right there.
Water pickup there.
There's a tube that's right there that goes right to the water pump. But you'd think if you were forcing in with the hose, it would be... But it's also supposed to have a plate there, right? And it doesn't. I don't know where the torque tab went.
I was just trying to block it off.
Oh, where?
Yeah.
You want me to turn it back on?
Yeah, turn it back on.
What, are you going to sit there and hold it? Fire it up? See if it comes out the top?
I guess it doesn't matter. Lower unit's coming off anyway.
Yeah.
Coming apart. We
Yeah.
know it runs.
It runs. It runs, it has compression. That's a good enough start for me, I guess. Yeah, we're pulling it apart anyway, so. Cool. Well, it runs. It's not blown up, which is good, but it doesn't matter anyways because it's coming apart. I want to build one of these things for real. So this thing is power head coming off, bits and pieces going elsewhere. I have an idea. Okay, so the 59 cube, that power head is going to stay with me, and we're going to try to build a pretty hot 59. Not many people up here have really built one of these, so we're going to try this power head. But this whole project kind of got me thinking. One of the biggest weaknesses with these 59 cube Mercs, the 40s and 50s, are these gear cases with these bolt-in front carriers. Bolts come loose, vibration, breaks the prop shaft. I have seen this happen at least twice now, and I don't really want to risk losing one of my good props. So that kind of got me thinking about these old 65s and those gear cases, which are cheap and they're plentiful, and there's also multiple different gear ratios available. So I picked up this from a scrapyard, essentially. And this is a midsection, same as that 65. It's a short shaft midsection from I believe it's a 40 horsepower. And the lower unit is the same as that 65 with multiple gear ratios. So maybe not this one, I think this one's bad, but what if I could adapt the 59 cube power head to sit on this mid? And that would give me lots of gear case options. It would probably be lighter. And I kind of like the idea of having something that looks old, but underneath is kind of more modern, like our 56 cube engines. So I'm going to start mocking this up, see if it's even possible. But that could be something cool. So these midsections are the same for the 35, 40, 50, 60, 70 Mercuries, all the way through the 70s and 80s. They're the same. And even all the way up until they stopped making the 44 cubic inch 40 horsepowers, which they made those all the way up until like the late 90s. They all use the same midsection. And that means that a power trim unit from a late 90s 40 horsepower would bolt right up to it. So I'm going to be looking for one of those. I have no idea what I'm doing for tuners yet, so I'm going to get this tuner out of this midsection and set it on top of there. You know, I'm not afraid to make some custom parts if I have to, but I'm going to see what it would take to sort of get that to fit on or in this, or if I have to make something thinner, I'm okay with that. But I just thought it would be really cool to do essentially what is a Mercury version of this motor, because this motor is a 1975 75 horsepower Johnson, but underneath the hood it's actually a mid-90s 56 cubic inch power head. Modern power, old school looks. I don't know anyone that's done this with a Merc, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try, because I think it would look pretty good on the back of a certain yellow Checkmate. Okay, so tuner out with the adapter plate. I'm not sure that exhaust is gonna fit inside of there right now, so I might have to unbolt that. I'll definitely be shortening it up no matter what. Let me just see. Let's see. Yeah, no, that's not gonna fit. Alright, I'm gonna take that off. Honestly, it probably would go if I cut it like... If I cut it somewhere around there, it would probably fit right in, which I would probably do anyways. It looks pretty long, pretty restrictive. I don't want to cut it yet, so I'm going to just unbolt it. I'll unbolt the water tube, set that thing down in there, and see if this is even possible. Any Mercury 59 cube guys, what are you guys doing with tuners? Length? Cut it? You making a custom bell? Let me know. Let me know. I've never done one of these motors. I want to know what you guys are doing. Right. Nice, okay. It's interesting that the exhaust like circulates back up through there. Is that for low end, I guess, maybe? Help it get on plane. If it's buried in the water, possibly. So the water tube comes in there. Water tube comes in here. Up that passage to here. One little hole there to put water back in the exhaust, keep it cool. The rest of it goes up there. So, I mean, you could definitely make this smaller if you wanted to. It just needs to follow this. Doesn't need to have all that if you block off that exhaust relief stuff. Okay, let's try it. Set that on there. That drive shaft's gonna come right through there, so it'd be something like that. Definitely have to figure out how to bolt this thing down. But where the water tube comes through, that looks like it won't be a problem at all. And I think that exhaust will fit inside that midsection. It'll be tight at the front, or the back, I guess. Might need to knock out that little plate just a little bit in the center to get it down in there, but I think it might work. Also, one thing to note, one nice thing about these midsections is that the mounts are actually built into the mid and they're not part of the plate. So we actually don't need any of the mounts in the plate. I think this might be possible. This might be possible. You know, I'm a little bit of a dreamer when it comes to projects like this. I get a little carried away sometimes, but I think I could get behind that idea. '59 cube, short shaft, more dependable lower unit, power trim, and honestly, I think with a lightweight cowl, this motor would be under 200 pounds. Just like a regular short shaft would be, but I do not trust those gear cases. Am I doing it the hardest way possible to get a short shaft 59? Probably. But I don't care. I like what I'm seeing. And for anyone wondering how I'm going to do the drive shaft, I have this, which is the bottom of a crankshaft that I cut off. Boom. Weld a little extension on there. I may have to shorten this shaft, but I'd like to shorten it, have it somewhere where it's accessible. I might even have to hog that out a little bit just to get it down in there. Just in case, you know, the 59 cube deal doesn't work. Have a couple of these, so a couple different drive shaft tops. Boom, boom, boom. Changeable power heads. That's the plan. One of the real reasons I'm doing this build is, like I said, I love the old school aesthetic with the modern power underneath. But I do want to actually get my hands on a true 650 XS. Uses the same mid, same lower unit, same everything. So hoping to track one of those down soon, and hopefully get to give you guys a little more in depth of what that motor actually entails, because I don't even know really. So hopefully 650 XS custom 50-60 Mercury build on the same mid, and maybe a little OMC versus Mercury showdown one of these days. Well guys, that's probably gonna do it for this video. Just waiting for some materials to come in. As soon as we get those, we will get that mated back onto there with the SST60. Get that all done. Shouldn't take us very long. I'd imagine that'll probably be the next time you see this boat, is it'll be to completion. And other than that, I'm just daydreaming a little bit. But I got a plan for this. Need a little bit of machine work done, so gonna get that project underway. And the next video that you see from me is going to be probably the most requested video that I've had so far, and that is, how do you convert a 49 cubic inch short shaft OMC to a 56? So we're going to run through all the steps on that, everything that you need to do to change to a 56 power head and build yourself essentially a clone of one of those. So we'll see you next time.